Many people dream about having an aquarium in a wall. In this case, it's in a bar, which is a very safe and practical idea. It minimises the public's access to the top of the aquarium, making it therefore safer, and looks really good as a feature of the bar. Those cichlids are a very easy fish to keep. The most complicated issue that you're definitely going to have to deal with is the mixing of the cichlid, both with themselves and other types of fish. Because a cichlid is a highly intelligent fish, you never know exactly how they're going to react when introduced to another tank mate. One of the easiest things to remember is that the younger the fish, the more compatible it tends to be with its tank mates. If you get a whole bunch of small cichlids and introduce them together, the chances of them getting along and growing up together is quite significant. On the other hand, as the fish get older and get used to their ways and used to the fish they've grown up with, they tend to be less compatible with other tank mates. The safest bet is to have an aquarium pretty much full of cichlids, though other people like to wean other types of fish in with the cichlid for diversity amongst the aquarium. This is very much a hit or miss tactic. In some circumstances, various fish work, and in other circumstances, those same fish just don't work. Because the cichlid is a very intelligent species, each individual cichlid will react to other fish in somewhat unpredictable manners. For example, fish like silver sharks, mono angels, clown loaches, scats, various sucker fish will work in one aquarium and simply not work in the other aquarium. It's really a matter of trying your aquarium and seeing how your cichlids react to that style of fish. In general, the larger the cichlid, the less compatible it is with other tank mates. If you have a, for example, large Mabuna or large type of African cichlid and try and introduce it with other fish, there's a much lower chance of that fish getting along because it's grown up and become accustomed to its territories, its tank mates, and is generally less able to adapt to a new environment and is more likely to be irritable and aggressive than a smaller one, not unlike humans. One of the first comments that people realise about the African cichlid is that many of them look quite plain and boring when they're young. Now this tempts many people to try introducing adults to their aquarium. In general, it's better to be patient and put the juveniles in, let the juveniles grow up and get used to the aquarium as it establishes. On the other hand, the larger adults tend to be far more colourful than the babies, even to the extreme where some of the babies will be brown or silver, which will grow into beautiful blues, reds and other beautiful colours that the cichlids will contain. What I would suggest doing if you're a beginner is to keep a list of the fish that you keep. Therefore, when you go to consult your aquarium expert at your local aquarium shop, you can bring the list with you, allowing them to advise you what sort of fish are likely to work with your aquarium. The first thing to consider is how aggressive the fish are. Obviously, if you put a fish into your aquarium that's more aggressive than the fish you've got, it potentially could kill some of the fish in your aquarium. As well as that, if it's not aggressive as your fish, then it may get killed by the fish in your aquarium. When you're introducing the fish, this really needs to be considered. Also, the pH of the aquarium. You don't want to keep an acid type aquarium and go putting in a fish that prefers alkaline pH, otherwise the chances of it getting sick is of course very high. Also consider the amount of salt that they advise that you put into the water and the types of food that you should be feeding them. Understand what it is that you feed your current aquarium and make sure that it's acceptable diet for the new fish that you introduce. Most fish are opportunists, so any large fish will more than likely eat small fish. So there's a, I guess, size of mouth rule where even if it's a large peaceful fish, even a goldfish, if it's got a mouth large enough to eat your small fish, you can almost guarantee it's probably going to end up there. So with this combination of fish, while they're small, they all will tend to get along. On the other hand, as they grow up and personalities develop, you can have one aquarium with this same mix of fish and all the fish can seem to get along with no problems whatsoever for years. On the other hand, you can have another aquarium which has basically the opposite result, where some of the individuals become quite aggressive and may attack some of the other species. It's really important to monitor and watch this as it's occurring. Now, generally it'll be one instigator that will cause most of the aggression and problems in your aquarium, because the key is the dominant fish. If you've got a dominant fish in the aquarium which is acting slightly aggressively between most of the fish and exerting its dominance and interrupting or breaking any fights that break out between the fish, then you'll find that the fish will grow up well. On the other hand, if you've got a less observant or, let's say, not as good boss, then in general there can be a lot more problems with aggression, because that boss will usually be overridden and a lot of aggression can occur in the aquarium. Every aquarium will have a hierarchy. There'll be the boss, then the second boss, then all the way down to the biggest wimp. Now the boss's job should be to control the rest of the fish. If this is working properly, then the hierarchy of the aquarium should not change. On the other hand, if the boss is not controlling the rest of the ranks and hierarchy is changing, you will result in a lot of aggression being in the aquarium. So how aggressive the aquarium is governed by how many fish are in the aquarium, what type of fish are in the aquarium, and who the boss of the aquarium is. So in this aquarium, I'd be watching the silver sharks and the loaches as being the more peaceful fish that may get picked on. On the other hand, I'd be looking at things like the red scats and the mono angels as potentially being the more aggressive ones. The colour and effect can look strongest if you pick a few types of fish that you like, particularly if you like the electric yellows. Get quite a high number of the electric yellow, because when they're all together, that unity is really quite striking, and that high presence of yellow will look quite powerful in the aquarium.